Hello and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. I am so freaking excited about today's topic, you guys. I actually can't freaking believe that we have never talked about money. And when I think back, I'm like, what the hell am I even doing? How am I not addressing this? There are so many, you could probably hear it in my voice, that I'm super passionate about on this topic that I have never talked to you about. And when I think about why didn't I talk to you about this? It is because money is often taboo. And it's personal. And I'm not buying into this anymore. And when most people think about work, they think about a way to get money to pay their bills. And then also, I know a lot of people dream of lifestyles that they do not have yet. They want to be rich. They want to fly in the, front of an airplane. They want to go on these incredible vacations and have more time and flexibility and money and all the things that money can buy us. But their careers are not in line with the lifestyle that they actually want. So today I'm going to break down how to set goals and actually achieve them in a way that is aligned with the lifestyle that you are looking for. Because your career, your work, what you do funds your life, whether or not you believe that or not, whether or not you want to face that or not, but it does. So the decisions that we make that have to do with our careers and our compensation and what we do for work directly ties into how we will be living our lives. And if I peeked at your income right now, if I opened up your app where you have your banking information, would I see your income support the life that you say you want? Or are you expecting something different to happen? Okay, so we're breaking all of this down. I'm going to be sharing today how to actually get paid what you're worth, how to set goals that are aligned with your actual life, the lifestyle you want to live, whether it's 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 5, 10 years from now. I'm also going to be going a little personal. I think this is why I've avoided this topic. I'm going to go personal on my personal financial goals. And it feels a little exposing, but we're going to dive in because that's the only way that I could really showcase the way to truly meet your lifestyle goals financially. We're going to break down how to design a career that actually supports the lifestyle that you want to live, whether it's today or tomorrow, and not the one you might have just comfortably settled into. Because if you want to live a different life and you are like me and you have big goals, we need to start making different money decisions. So let's freaking dive into this. Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. So the biggest problem that I see with careers and lifestyle and matching those two things up is that they are often in complete misalignment. When I speak to my clients and we talk about the lifestyle that they want to live, their career is not often aligned right now to the lifestyle that they often dream of. And that is a big problem when your career is often what funds your life. Unless you are a trust fund baby or you have some kind of, rich partner that, you don't need to worry about your career having anything to do with money. That is a really nice dream. But realistically, that is a dream for most people, and it's not the reality. So I want to break down a topic that I personally avoided a lot in my own career, and I want to save you from some of those mistakes that I made, and I want to get super realistic today. And to do that, I'm going to take you back. So whether you're new here or you've been here for some time, I don't know if you've listened to the first podcast episode here. If you haven't, go back and listen to that first episode where I break down more of my story and where I came from. But if you've been here for a while, you already know I grew up super poor. When I mean super poor, we moved countries, we had nothing. We lived in government housing. I'm an immigrant and I came to Canada with absolutely nothing, learned English, and knew from very early on that the life that I wanted to live was going to look extremely different than the one that I grew up with. Okay. And I knew that from a very, very young age. And I want to paint the picture here of how I knew that. Okay. This is one of those defining moments. So my dad and I used to drive to Florida like 4 times a year. And we had family there, so we could stay for free with my aunt and my 2 cousins and go to Disney and all those fun things, spend summers there or go there in the winter when it was colder in Canada. And it was really nice. We started doing that when I was probably a teenager. We used to drive for like 2 days straight to get there from Toronto. And I remember being so young. I was literally probably like 13 years old. And I remember this one time we were stopping overnight because obviously I could not drive. My dad had to drive all that way to get us to Florida, and he would, of course, get tired, and we would stay one night in a random motel that was on the way. Now, in driving through all the different states, we would stop at different places, and I would see these beautiful hotels, and they looked so nice. And then my dad tells me on the way to this trip one time, I'll never forget it. He's like, okay, we're gonna stop right here. And he pulls into this like dusty motel, dusty, like a place that even as a 12-year-old who grew up super poor, I did not feel comfortable in staying. And I remember there was this guy that came out and he was like asking how long we were going to stay. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a by the hour kind of place, if you know what I mean. And this guy was like, how long are you going to stay? Okay, I'll give you 20 for 20. And I remember asking my dad, what the hell is he talking about? 20 for 20. So he was going to give us room number 20, motel room 20 for $20. Can you take that in? That is what this place looked like. I remember staring at my dad and I was like, Dad, like, why are we staying here? I saw a really nice place. Like, why don't we stay at that other place? And he's like, well, why do you want to stay at this other place? And I'm like, well, and I didn't know how to describe it, but it was this feeling of like comparing this dusty ass motel to the beautiful hotel that I saw, but we didn't step into the hotel. So the only thing that I saw was from the outside that they had a beautiful, warm, welcoming lobby with gorgeous couches and furniture and lighting. And I go to my dad, they have lamps and couches when you walk in. And he goes, baby, we just need to get to Florida. We just need to put our head down. And, you know, we can't afford to be staying in a place like that. And even at that age, I remember thinking, wait, what? We can't, like, we're not rich enough for that. We can't afford to stay in this place. And that built my understanding of money. And literally, even in that moment, I remember thinking, this is not a decision I am okay with. This is not a decision of how I want to live my life. And like early on, it painted this picture in my mind of like, I am going to be staying in really nice hotels or wherever the hell I want when I grow up and I am making our decisions. Now, I will say that it wasn't his fault. I mean, we just didn't have the money for that. It didn't make sense. I mean, we were going to stay for free with my family, right? So I totally get why he had made those decisions, but I just wanted to live a very different life. And it became clear to me in that moment and many other moments that I experienced growing up that like 20 for 20 is not what my future is going to be about. What this moment really made me realize was that money could buy you freedom. It could buy you choices. And money is not a dirty word. I know I avoided having this podcast episode because so many people, there's so many controversial opinions and so many people inside. Like when I truly ask my clients what they really see for their futures, what they want their lives to look like, and my friends as well, like they do want to have abundance in their life. And it's not about, you know, having material wealth that is like pointless if you don't care about that. You know what I mean? It's not about having like all of this designer stuff if you don't really care about that. But it is, money is a tool. Money is a tool that can buy back your time. It can buy you experiences. It could buy you proximity, access to rooms and conversations and people that think differently, and private education for your children. It could buy you support like coaches and therapists and childcare and support at home where you never have to clean your house again if that's not your thing, where you never have to cook again if that's not your thing. I don't cook and I don't clean, by the way. I spend my time and I have the choice to be able to do that. So these are the type of little decisions that just take the stress off. And the biggest thing is I grew up obviously with a lot of scarcity, and now I live with a lot of abundance. And I could tell you by having both of those experiences is that I think I appreciate it more. I really freaking appreciate where I am now, what I have today, and I'm grateful for it because of the way that I grew up. And I know what the other side, what the flip of the other side of the coin looks like. And what it looked like for my parents is not being able to buy support to take care of me after school. So I would sit alone in our little apartment from the third grade and have to microwave like leftovers for myself and heat them all up because they couldn't be home. They had to work like multiple jobs to even afford our dingy little apartment. And the stress that came along with that, I could see every day. I just know that when you never have to stress about a mortgage payment or a rent payment or where your food's going to come from, I mean, when all of those needs are met, the level of freaking stress that comes off of you and your body and your nervous system is incredible. And seeing both, I will tell you, if you haven't had both experiences, I'll tell you that the latter is much better, no matter what you value. And you might be like, Irina, I don't want to be rich. Cool. Your lifestyle is your decision. What you value will be different. What I have found is that if you don't like stress, we're not talking about Birkin bags, okay? If you don't like stress in your life, if you want ease from that perspective, money can help you buy that. It is a tool. It can help you make choices. Money was a tool that allowed me to take the risk to start my business because we weren't in scarcity and I could take a risk like that. Money can buy you experiences. You could travel. Talking about the way that we grew up, I brought my mom last year to Maui 4 seasons and we got to take her there. We paid for everything. And this is a trip that she would never see in her life otherwise. And this is not selfish. This is me being able to afford an experience for my family members that they would ultimately not have for themselves. Recently, my dad was in the hospital. I never shared this, just maybe a couple clients that I moved calls with heard about this, but my dad was in the hospital for a while. It looked bad. He was actually afraid he was going to die. And during that time, his rent payment was due, and like his landlord kept texting his phone. And not only have I co-signed on his apartment, by the way, that was like a year ago, but when the landlord was texting while he's in the hospital, like he didn't even know, he couldn't even speak. I paid his rent like it's nothing. Like I literally didn't even notice. I didn't even tell him. I didn't care. I'm like, he's in the hospital. Like obviously I'm just going to pay this. And think about that for a minute. We live in a city, Toronto has a housing crisis. Okay. Housing in Toronto, it's like this in lots of different regions too, but there's a housing crisis. It's so expensive and many people truly struggle with paying their rent alone, let alone having abundance. And, not only are we good with our house and our multi-million-dollar mortgage, I could easily also pay my dad's rent like it's nothing. When he came out of the hospital, like it was probably 2 weeks later, I didn't even tell him, but he came out and he's like, I understood like one of you paid my mortgage. And what he meant by one of you is like me and my sister. One of you paid the mortgage or the rent. And I go, yeah. And he's like, okay, let's go to the bank. Like I want to take the money out. I want to give it back to you. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. He's like, wait, what? Like, are you paying my rent now? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay your rent regularly, but you're in the hospital. Like, that's cool. It's a gift. And being able to do things like that is so meaningful to me. So I have had dreams of being able to give back to my parents. I know this is like an immigrant mentality. A lot of people feel that way that are immigrants, but this is the way in which I was raised. And many people I know in lots of cultures, Asian cultures, South Asian, they also dream of like supporting their families fully, buying them houses, like all of this kind of stuff. And money is a tool for you to be able to do that. And it doesn't mean you have to be selfish or be materialistic or something like that. So money allows you to access the type of lifestyle that you want, right? And you have to assess as we're having this conversation, you have to assess first, what type of lifestyle do you want to live? So early on, I had a vision, which I call now the North Star. We'll get into the North Star in another future episode. But the North Star is essentially where you see yourself in the future. It's like future casting. What does your future self do? What type of lifestyle do they live? And you can't mismatch, like you can't not correlate money to lifestyle that you want to live. So do you want to be flying at the front of an airplane instead of driving to Florida in an old minivan like my childhood? Do you want that experience? So my husband and I both grew up poor. He was raised by a single mom. And when I met him, what we had in common was that we had a vision for our futures. We had a North Star that although we were still in that state, we both dreamed because we met really young while both of us were poor. And we had a dream that we knew our future would be different than our past. This is called social mobility. We won't get into that right now, but essentially it's like living a better life than your parents lived. We also had a shared vision about how we want our child to grow up and how we want our child, our future children, to have an extremely different lifestyle than we grew up with, because he also knows, like, we really relate on this. And I'm so freaking glad, by the way, that I married someone that like gets it. I've told him before, I'm like, I am so happy you didn't grow up rich. And like, yes, it'd be nice for him to have like some sort of trust fund or his parents to gift us like, a house or something like that I've heard like other people do for them. But that's not in the cards for us. And I'm actually glad he doesn't have that either, because we can be on the same wavelength and understanding of what it's like to have both experiences. So we had a future vision that was aligned with a lifestyle that was comfortable and abundant. And we had big dreams, and we bonded over that. So think about it as you're listening to the episode. And I want you afterwards, your homework will be to write this down. I want you to really think about, what will you be like in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now? Where do you want your life to be? What is the lifestyle that you want to live? Do you want to be like a snowbird and be able to spend your winters in some warm climate? Do you want to be able to fly on the front of an airplane in business class in a pod? Like I remember, so you know what I was traveling like when I was a child, because I stayed in 20 for 20 and drove this crusty ass minivan all the way there, which thank God for nice cars. Now I really value nice cars, but that's a totally different topic. But I wanted to live a lifestyle where we could have nice cars, we can stay in the hotels that we wanted to, and we wanted to be able to fly nicely and comfortably and travel comfortably. So when my husband and I were flying to, a family vacation, and we see for the first time our son, and he's in business class, he's in a pod, he's laying down, he has his own person like waiting on him, like hand and foot, asking him if he wants any more snacks. They're bringing him like silverware. It's completely ridiculous. And we could see that, right? Because we've experienced both, and we can see how different our freaking childhood was to his. And looking over at him, he's like reclined. He's got a pillow. He's got a blanket. He's laying down, and we're toasting our champagne, and we're toasting to gratitude and to options, and to see that we can have a legacy for our child that will be very different. And that's beautiful. And, when I talk about that experience with bringing my mom to Hawaii, which was a lifelong dream, like we now go to Hawaii annually. We go same time of year, same place, the Four Seasons Maui. It is the most beautiful place I have ever personally seen. It's also been in the White Lotus show. If you've never watched that, we'll talk about that later in this episode. But completely stunning, right? Completely dream kind of top destination. And we get to go there every year now. It's not a big deal. It used to be such a ridiculous dream. And I've talked about that on the episodes before. And bringing my mom, like, do you want to have a lifestyle that can afford to do that or not? And if you don't, that's cool. If you're like, Irina, all I care, I'm not materialistic. Irina, you might like those things. I don't like those things. I don't care. I just want to have enough money to, not be stressed about money. Amazing. It will take money to do that. So how much money do you want to make for the lifestyle that you want? How does your work contribute to the person that you want to be and the lifestyle you want to have? Okay. And think about this. I know a lot of people right now, like there's this social media trend where people are like, I'm leaving the city. I want to live in the country and have like a big farm and raise chickens and all that good stuff. It is expensive to buy land. Like if you want to do that and live in a city where there are not many, opportunities to earn a ton through work, for example, that are rural and you're living on a farm. Do you know how expensive it is to have a farm? Right? So even that type of non-materialistic dream realistically costs a lot of money. So maybe you dream of land. Maybe you just dream of flexibility. You're like, I don't even want to work this much. I want to be able to travel. It doesn't even have to be, luxurious travel. It's just something that I want to have. Okay, cool. That takes money. I'm just going to be realistic with you. Maybe it's time. Like maybe you are about to have a baby or you want to have a baby in the next, 5 years. And money can buy you the flexibility to spend more time with your babies. I just saw on social media yesterday, someone that used to be my marketing, like I used to have this marketing agency. I've switched now to someone much better, by the way, but used to work with this terrible marketing agency. But my contact there was this, nice girl. And I remember she was resigning and she's like, hey, I'm not going to work here anymore. I'm leaving to start my own business and all that. So I congratulated her and she left. But I've been following her since, and it's been a couple years. And now I saw that she went back to work 3 months by the way, her business failed. And she went back to work for someone else 3 months after giving birth. Now, I'm from Canada, so we have a lot of different benefits. But it's still very expensive to stay off work for an extended period of time. But imagine money was not a pressure and you can spend more time with your newborn baby and not send them to daycare at 3 months old. Money can help with that, okay? So I want you to first be realistic about what you truly want. Whether you're like me and you love the nice things, trust me, I love nice things. We're going to talk about trade-offs though later in this episode. I love me a nice thing. If you follow along, my daily life is covered with nice things. And I'm very grateful for that. And I like those things. But what I really like even more is living a stress-free life, being able to live in my dream home, being able to spend more time with my family and not have that type of stress that consumed my whole first 20 years of my entire life. Okay? So think realistically of what that looks like for you and be honest. Do not think that money is a dirty word and you're some sort of, shallow person if you desire these things. I want you to be realistic. You don't even have to share this with anyone. Literally, it's for yourself. So journal on it, think about it, and think about truly the lifestyle that you want. Now, from there, you're going to create a vision for your future. What do you see yourself doing 20 years from now? How are you spending your days? What is your lifestyle like? Think about that. And then realistically, you're going to want to assess what that looks like 10 years prior, what that looks like in 5 years, and how much money it really costs to live the lifestyle that you are looking to live, and how much of that you need to earn through your job. Okay, maybe you have a partner, so it's like you're both working towards this lifestyle that you want to live. So this is your work on creating the North Star for yourself and being clear on the lifestyle you want and the amount that it costs, salary-wise. Okay, now let's talk about evolutions, because I think maybe, you might paint this huge picture in your mind, like, very great, very expensive lifestyle that you would love to live. And that is fantastic. I love to dream big. And if you're here, you probably do too. But I will say, I want to be realistic with where my goals started and what they are now, because it doesn't serve a purpose to leave you with this huge gap. If you're like, okay, cool, I'm making like 100,000 right now or 50,000 right now, but my lifestyle costs $1 million a year. Let's say there's this huge gap. It's like, I don't want to leave you not knowing how to close it. So I didn't start by having huge goals when I started my career. They were very realistic, but they were a huge step up from where I was coming from. So in the beginning, it was simple. I wanted to make enough money to leave my government housing place that I was living with my mom with. And I needed to be able to move out and get an apartment downtown Toronto with my partner John, my husband now. And I wanted to be able to live in a nice area, have a nice downtown apartment. And that's what I wanted. Okay. And that was the dream at the time. That was a huge step up. I mean, I was literally in a basement, like government housing apartment with my mom. And then I wanted to live in this nice place downtown. So I calculated what that would look like. And seriously, because there were two of us, we were both working, it wasn't going to be huge. I just needed to really get my first corporate job. So it's not like I went into HR thinking I'm going to afford some sort of luxurious lifestyle. That's not how it started. What I did was be able to create a plan to get my foot in the door, to get my first full-time opportunity. My first job paid me $37,000 a year. That would not afford an apartment downtown, by the way, now. But again, my partner was also working. And what I was doing was creating a trade-off. I was like, I will start here and then I will build up my skills and I will get promoted. I'm going to work hard. And then in my 30s, I'll be able to buy my dream home, like not a condo, right? And of course, in a city like Toronto, that is millions of dollars. And I had a future plan. So it's not like I was like, okay, I need to make like 6 figures for my first job. That wasn't the case at all. But I was like, okay, I'm going to just get my foot in the door, work hard. I'm going to get promoted consistently and so on and so forth. And then I'm going to make more money. My partner will make more money. And then we will get slowly to the lifestyle that we're looking to live in the future as our future state. Okay. So my initial goals was to get a full-time job. I was working part-time at the time in like a minimum wage retail job. And, when I landed that first job, I literally thought I was rich, which was not the case. I was like, oh my God, I get a full-time salary. This is amazing. And there's a whole lifestyle creep that we won't get into in this episode, but it's like you get very much used to your salary very quickly. And that's exactly what happened. So thankfully, I did get promoted really quickly from there. And within 5 years, I was making 6 figures and so on. So I want you to have kind of that plan of where you are now and where you want to go. And, my goals changed. So in my 20s, it was all about like getting that first job, setting myself up, getting experience. And it later changed to, okay, let's buy our first house before we were 30. And we did that. And it was like $840,000 or something, our first house. We had a condo before that we owned, but this was like the first standalone house with 6 bedrooms and all that just outside of the city. And that was our goal. And it was a huge stretch goal. And we made sacrifices to be able to do that. And then it's like after being there for a few years that we set our goals to buying our dream home, which is multi-millions of dollars. And we had to make sacrifices on the way to do that too, right? So things don't happen overnight, but having a plan will make sure that you're closing that gap consistently and moving towards your biggest dreams and the lifestyle that you are looking to have. Okay, this sounds all really nice, right? You're like, ooh, okay, well, yeah, I want to be rich. I want to make $1 million a year. So this is where I also want to be realistic because I'm not just going to leave you hanging and, without that plan, because it could feel overwhelming between where you are now and where you want to go. So there's 2 hard truths that I want to share with you, which number 1, your salary is only worth what someone is willing to pay you. Okay. So even though you might have a goal to make $1 million a year, it's like if you're not in a field or don't have the experience to be able to demand that in the market, it's not realistic. We want to be able to have realistic goals. Number 2, you are going to have to make trade-offs. So these are 2 hard truths that I want to break down. Okay. So the first one is what I call leverage. Leverage is really simple. It's simply how much money you can demand for your skills in the market. That is it. How simple is that? There's a formula to it. It's like leverage equals skills times experience times market timing. Okay. So leverage is how much your skills and experience is worth in the market, right? What a lawyer can earn in the market is often very different than what retail sales associate at the mall can earn. Okay. So this, obviously there's a difference. We all know this commonsensically, but the market is going to pay something very specific for your skills and experience. So what I want you to do is research the type of field that you're in if you haven't already, and see like, okay, the job that you want in 5 years, how much does that likely pay? Now, there's always the 1%. Like we think about a singer. We could have a singer who earns no money, like just tips in a dive bar. And they're singing in the subways, in New York. I love watching those videos on YouTube of people with incredible voices, just like singing for free and just getting like a couple bucks in tips. And then we look at a top singer, like, I don't know why Lady Gaga just came into my mind. I haven't even listened to her music, but let's just go with her. She's able to command millions of dollars for like one show. And she is the 0.0001%. Like let's just call it the 1%. But in any field, there are the people that earn very little, and there's people that are able to demand more because of their skills and experience, their natural gifts, their crafts, and then the timing and the market and what realistically people pay for this. So it's really important to keep that in mind. So again, in my 20s, I was essentially understanding that I was going to raise my leverage. I was like, I will raise my skills. I will learn more so I don't have to continue to make $37,000 a year like I did in my first job. I'm going to get more experience. I'm going to get more skills, and I'm going to continue to freaking do that. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get my designation. I'm going to get promoted. And then that will earn me more money in the market. Even if my employer isn't going to give me more money for getting all that extra skills and experience, somebody will. And you better believe that they did. When I left my first company that I spent 5 years in, went to my second, and I doubled my salary. So keep that in mind. The second thing I want to be really realistic with you is about trade-offs. Now, let's use the classic example of earning $1 million a year, because I think it just paints a really solid picture. If you want to do that, amazing. It is completely up to you. It is the lifestyle choice that you desire. That's amazing. You're going to have to keep in mind your leverage, right? And be able to raise your leverage where you have a very unique set of skills, a rare set of skills, a rare set of experiences to demand that kind of salary at the 1%. Is it possible? Yes, it is. There are like so many freaking people that do this. Is it the average? No, they're doing something extraordinary. And they have an extraordinary set of skills and experiences typically, right? And the market's willing to pay for that. So you will have to make trade-offs. And when I think about trade-offs, it's really simple. It's like, what are you going to give up to earn that level of wealth? What are you willing to give up? So let's use the Lady Gaga example. It's her time. It's all of her privacy. She has to, let's say, leave her loved ones to go on tour, maybe not see them. So she's giving up her time and all of her privacy to be able to earn, let's call it $1 million per show. Often trade-offs are like time versus money. That's a really common one. But the way I want to position it to you is with this quote that I am absolutely obsessed with. And the quote goes like this: if you are not willing to make sacrifices for your dream is what is going to have to be sacrificed. There are always sacrifices. All this bullshit on the internet of like, you can make unlimited money and it's not hard and you could just do it from home at 2 hours a week. Like that is some bullshit. Okay. That's like the equivalent of you creating a plan that's based on winning the lottery. You are going to have to sacrifice something. My husband had a dream when he was like 17 years old. It was to leave his small town and to move to downtown Toronto by himself with nothing. No one paid for his education. He had to do it all himself. And there was a sacrifice to that dream. His sacrifice was obviously leaving his family behind, but to eat, he would go to Costco and buy one bag of rice that was supposed to last him the whole freaking month. And he lived with a roommate and he had to eat rice every day. Like it sounds ridiculous, but when he tells me, I'm like, oh my God, like, wow, you really had to sacrifice for that dream. And often, later things get easier with all of those benefits that we talked about. But early on, there will be trade-offs with your devotion to something. And I need you to know this. This is just the law of how things work. For example, the virtue of me being here with you right now and filming this podcast episode means like I could be doing something else with my time. I could be outside by my pool tanning. I am sacrificing my tan to be able to be here because this is what I want to be doing and it aligns with my dream. So there are so many examples of these trade-offs, and your devotion to something will often mean trade-offs. Okay. when accepting a job, consider what you're going to be earning early on, and also important to consider what those skills will be able to get you in the market later in your career. I'll give you another materialistic trade-off, okay? I want a Birkin bag. I'm susceptible to social media. I love seeing those Birkin bags. They're freaking gorgeous, amazing. My Pinterest feed is like literally full of them, but I am sacrificing that so that I can leave a legacy for my son. That is more important to me than a Birkin bag. So we're saving for his future instead. This is a trade-off of not doing one thing for another. Your career will ultimately, at all times, you're sacrificing one thing for another. So it's about getting clear on your values, what you want your lifestyle to look like, and understand what you're going to give up, because you will be giving something up. I'm just going to keep it real. You're going to be giving something up. Okay. So let's get into making this happen. Your big, audacious, amazing future lifestyle goals and career goals, they don't happen by accident. They don't happen by you just coming up with them and journaling about them and hoping they just manifest from thin air. They're going to take action, right? And I'm going to have another episode on goal setting this month. So you'll hear more on my goal setting process, because I'm completely obsessed with setting goals and achieving them. That's just how I operate. I do it every day, every month, every week, every year, so on and so on. I could go on, but let's just keep it simple. We've all heard about SMART goals a million times, and there's a reason for that. They work. So make sure when you set out a goal, you want your next goal, even though you have this big North Star, you want your next goal of what you do this month, this week, this year to be SMART. You want it to be time bound. You want it to be realistic. You want it to be attainable. You want it to have metrics so you know if you're on the right path. Just like I told you, like my first goal was landing a full-time salary. And the next, I wanted to get promoted to earn more money. And then I wanted to double my salary going to an external company, so on and so forth. So set out those goals that are time-bound, realistic, accountable. You're keeping yourself accountable through metrics, right? And they're specific. At the end of the year, whether you hit them or not. It's like a yes or no. Tick the box or not. Did you do it? Did you not? It's simple, right? If you haven't set goals in the SMART goal way, I bet you have. But if you haven't, just go look it up. I'll do another podcast episode on goal setting. Then the last thing is I want you to share your dream. Even if it's not your big, hairy, audacious one, that's like your North Star, but just share with someone you love what you want to do in the next month, in the next year, in the next 5 years with someone you love. This is going to keep you accountable. Say that goal out loud. This is going to help your brain bring you closer and closer to making decisions that align with your goals. And it's going to make it more likely. There's a whole science around this that also I keep these episodes under 45 minutes. So we're not going to have time to get into it, but today at least. But there's a whole science about how much more likely you are to hit your goals when you share them with someone and you keep yourself accountable. So when people join any of my coaching programs, it's like I ask, what is your goal? Okay, it's to land this job. Perfect. Amazing. That's the target. That we know what we're working towards. We're going to create steps all the way along so that you can do that. Okay? Share your goals. Make them specific, measurable, time-bound. It works for a reason, right? Last thing I'm going to harp on here is this whole soft trend lifestyle. So you'll see in social media, it's just loaded with all these sound bites of like people wanting to live this soft life and, not wanting to work and have this beautiful lifestyle and marry sugar daddies or, someone to support them. All good if this is you, all good. These goals are your own. But if you are here because you want to contribute to your family's legacy through your career and you are being realistic that often, your income that you make, unless you have these set of different circumstances, your career income that you make completely helps you with the career that you are looking to have, then you're in the right place. Okay. So I know that everyone is burnt out. They don't want to work their 9 to 5s for, ever. And I totally get that. But if you are someone who is looking to grow your career in a way that is aligned with the life that you truly want to live, for you to have time to spend with your children, for you to have time to vacation and to go to the places that you've wanted to go and not worry about anything. If you want to be the type of person that achieves their biggest goals, then you're in the right freaking place. And we're going to be talking about living the life that you truly crave a lot more. And that goal setting episode will also be really helpful. So I want to know, this is a very different topic. I shared a lot of personal information, and the goal was never just to make more money. The goal is to build a life that you can't, like you're pinching yourself. You can barely believe that you are living the life of your dreams. And that is the freaking goal, no matter what your dreams are. The last thing I'll ask you is, if you've enjoyed this episode, send me a DM. Let me know that this is resonating with you. It's different than some of the other stuff that we talk about here, but it's important. And I couldn't not have this conversation. Also, share this episode with someone you love. If you know that someone has huge goals, or they're looking to make a career change for whatever reason, whether they're looking for more flexibility or balance or money, share this episode with them. I love you and thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.